Pens down, fingers off keyboards, give your eyes a break, and listen up. Now, I don't know why I've decided to do this, but I am filming this at midnight, so who knows if I'm going to make any sense at all. But this episode, I want to talk about all the things that are hard about writing and all the things that still scare me about writing. So I say I've sold 2 books to an indie publisher. I've self-published my own fiction novel, and I'm currently working on publishing another one. I also have a blog over on Medium and a website and bits and bobs here and there. Yet there's still a lot about writing that terrifies me and that I find really difficult. So I wanted to talk about this today. So the first thing that scares me about writing is readers. They are the scariest part of writing, because if you're someone who wants to make a living from writing, you're going to need readers generally. I haven't worked out a way to make money off writing haven't figured out how to make a way of making money without being a writer, but I also haven't figured out how to be a writer professionally without anyone reading your work. So if anyone has figured that out, you can let me know in the comments below. That'd be wonderful. But no, readers are actually wonderful, wonderful people. They make your stories come to life and they make them real. They make them possible. There are so many good things about readers. But the anticipation, the moment before they set eyes on it, especially the first reader, it's the most terrifying moment, no matter what. Any blog that I post, as soon as I see that someone's commented on it or clapped on it, my heart races. And it's terrifying to think, did they like it? Did they not like it? What parts did they like? I used to obsess over this. I've gotten a little bit more control lately, but I used to absolutely obsess, and I used to want to know all the little tiny bits that made people smile, all the little bits that made people frown or cry, or I don't think I've made anyone cry yet, but any tiny glimpse of emotion, I wanted to know exactly what letter that emotion was sparked from. I have calmed down now, but I used to do that a lot. I used to always want to know how much people liked it, what people liked about it. I wanted to know every single detail because I always wanted to improve, and I think that's a wonderful thing as a writer. But sometimes it scares readers away, and we do want readers. We like readers. We love readers. They do scare us, but we do like them very much, and we want them to stick around. So we don't want to scare them. They can scare us. They're more than allowed to scare us. They can scare us as much as they like, but we don't want to scare them. That's important. I think with readers, especially when they're beta readers. So beta readers are people who will take an unpublished piece of work that you've written, read it, and they will give you their honest feedback. It's generally meant to be them giving you all the bits of your work that they didn't like. Any sentences that they stumbled over, any words that they're like, any characters that they're like, I did not connect with. So generally it's meant to be the harsher side of things to help you improve, to help you make a wonderful piece of writing before you publish it. But handing over to beta readers is very, very scary. I haven't had any really bad experiences with beta readers because in general, no matter how harsh their feedback is, it is there for the purpose of improving your writing, which ultimately is helping you. So it's always they're doing it in your favor, but it can feel sometimes like it's not. Sometimes it can feel hurtful, but everything they put down, all the mean things they may say, or all the things that may feel mean, it's not personal. But the funniest thing about beta readers is that they could say something that's neutral, let's say. And us writers, we could take it so personally and get so upset by it. But they say something positive and something nice, and we're like, yeah. And then we move on. Like why? It's not even. What? I wish we could just positive things only. And all the negative stuff, we're just like, whatever, who cares? That'd be nice. Another thing that scares me about writing is finances, because people don't think writing costs money, because if you're just going to write for the sake of writing, it doesn't. You can get a notebook, you can get a pen, you can have your laptop. I mean, that costs money, but generally, if you have it, you can write on it. You could maybe use some chalk and write on a pavement. That's cheaper. You could get a leaf and, no, I don't know how to make a quill, but if you knew how to make a quill, you could make one and then write outside, and that'd be even cheaper. But I don't know how to make a quill, and this is not a quill tutorial. But in general, people think writers write and then they publish their work and they make lots of money, and that's kind of it. Done. You're rich and you've just done something you love, which is wonderful, and I would love that to be true. But unfortunately, we do have to pay for wonderful editors, amazing people, very essential to your work, at least in my opinion. Cover designers. And I feel like a lot of writers now are using AI for their cover, which I mean, more power to you. Do what you wish. I personally do like to have a designer design my work. And if you want to see this by my friend Marie, she drew this and designed it for the cover. Anyway, you can get this on Amazon, and that costs money. Of course, you want your cover designers to be able to pay rent and buy food. We don't want them to starve. We need to look after our designers. And then we need to pay for bookbinders, because, I mean, look at how beautifully bound this is. Look at this. Look at this. I mean, I don't own a printer. I didn't do all this myself. So, you gotta make sure that all the people that bound the book can pay their rent and can buy their food. We need to make sure people stay in business, because otherwise we're all gonna have to make our own quills and write our stories on the pavement. I don't know what else we would do if everyone went out of business. So share the love, pay the people who work for you, and then hopefully, just hopefully, you can make some of that money back. Because that's the scary thing about writing, is you just don't know. You can't guarantee. It's not like a 9 to 5 where you show up and you get paid for the hours that you're there. You only get paid if people want your book. And once you've written it, once the cover's been beautifully designed, once the book's been bound, that's when you become a sales rep for yourself. And you have to sell this thing, because it might be the best book anyone's ever read, but no one's going to know that unless they read it. And if they read it, they'll love it. But you have to get them to read it first. And you have to do that by telling them that the book is great. But the world's flooded with everyone telling everyone that everything is great. So you have to figure out how to get through the noise and tell people, hey, my book is great. And then you have to get them to believe you. And then on top of that, you have to get them to purchase it. Maybe you give it away for free. I don't know. I've heard lots of advice that giving away books for free is a great way to do it. It's a great way to kind of build rapport, build a reputation, get readers pulled in by your amazing book. I don't give my paperbacks away for free because they were very expensive to make. So they don't get given away for free. But ebooks are recommended to give away for free. I also don't have my ebook out for free. But sometimes I put out for free, sometimes. But it's cheap. So go check out Amazon and buy it. And I know a lot of people are boycotting Amazon. So don't then contact me on my website and see if I can send you a book. But that would be extra expensive because I'd have to pay for mail. And mail's very expensive, especially if you're not in New Zealand. Even if you are in New Zealand, it's very expensive. But I'm not here to complain about the mail system, Penny. I am here to talk about what scares me about writing, and honestly, everything. But yeah, so finances was that one. The third one that scares me about writing is actually writing. I know, that sounds silly. I'm a writer because I love to write, but it's scary to write when you're unsure if your ideas are good ideas. You might not know that your sentences are good. I know I get very insecure about my characters a lot of the time, about my plot. I feel like I can build emotion, but having interesting things that the characters do, I lack in skill. So I will often write an entire first draft, and then I will have to write an entire second draft from beginning to end because I will have to scratch everything in the first draft because there's no plot. And then from that second draft, I will have to rewrite everything for the third draft because, again, no plot. And then do that again and again and again until there is somewhat of a plot. This book kind of has a plot. There's an actual thing that happens. And then there's a thing that they have to overcome and deal with. It is very character driven. So it's mostly about the characters and their relationships with each other and how they navigate that. But there's also a plot, which I'm really excited about. So you guys should check this out and give it a review on Amazon or Goodreads. And if you're boycotting Amazon, that's fantastic. Boycott it after you buy it. Just pause your boycott because it's a really good book. Anyway, I'm not here to sell you my book. I'm here to talk about what scares me about writing. Everything scares me about writing. Editing scares me because I worry that I won't edit it to the highest of standards. But that's why we have professional editors. So that part's okay. I'm always scared that I will get advice from all these people, beta readers, editors, family, friends who read it. They tell me a lot, and I'm always so scared that I will put in all of these edits and make all these changes to please people, and then it's actually not what the majority wants. It's only what the minority wants. And because I haven't, maybe the circle of people who would test reading it wasn't big enough, and then when I go to publish it, people are like, actually, not sure about this. That's definitely something that really scares me. Or if a lot of people give me advice, but it goes against what I want to do, that I find really difficult, because I'm the only one who wants a particular thing, but also I'm the writer. So like my say counts for 100 people. So if it's not 100 people saying something opposing, I mean, I'm the majority. But also you want to, if you're writing for readers, you want to make sure that the readers are happy. So generally I will do my best to ignore myself. And in this book, it's great, by the way, I did have to do that. There was a whole, it wasn't the entire chapter 1, but I would say maybe half of chapter 1 that I absolutely loved. I wrote it like a camera sweeping down in a movie, going down the streets, following these characters, seeing people that you pass, which I love watching in movies. And so I wanted to write it in this book and kind of have that feeling that you were in the world, you were kind of having a bird's eye view, you were sweeping through it, you were getting a layout. But I would say 90% of people recommended that I lose that. So I was very sad, and it took me a very long time to come to terms with it, but I did, and I did get rid of it based on what the professionals and the readers said. So now it's a good book. Now that the readers have given it a thumbs up, and it's got a 4-star review on Amazon, which you should go look at. Unless you're boycotting Amazon, then go look at it on someone else's. Yeah, another thing that scares me about writing is not being able to keep up with my standards. Because we obviously get tired, things happen. You don't always manage to keep up standards that you set, especially if you're in a particularly good mood, particularly inspired and motivated. So I always worried that I might write something really great and then absolute rubbish after that. That's always something that I'm nervous about. And I feel like that kind of happened with my blogging for a little bit. I feel like I'm back into it now, but for a while there, I had no motivation. I had no inspiration. Nothing was coming from my brain. And the stories that came out were subpar, and I didn't know how to get out of that funk. But with time, rest, using techniques from my past video last week, I was able to get out of it and keep writing and writing stuff that's good. And also rejigging old stuff that I really like. That also helps with motivation, because you kind of remember how you used to write and you're like, oh yeah, I actually still like this. And so reading something of yours that you've written that you like can be really motivating, but we're not talking about motivation today. We talked about it in the last video. And the last thing that scares me about writing is it taking over my life. Because I do love to write, but I also want to write so that it contributes to my lifestyle. It brings me joy and happiness, essentially. And I don't want it to overcome my entire world. So it's the only thing that I'm focusing on. It's the only thing that I have. It's definitely not what I want. Because you get a lot of advice of you should only really ever write. If you're not writing, you should be reading. And that's essentially the only thing that you should be doing. You should wake up, you should write, you should keep going until you fall asleep. And if you're lacking inspiration, you go for a walk. Like, that's the life of a writer. And that is not what I want at all. I want to see my friends. I want to travel. I want to see the world. I want to do exciting things. I want to have fun. I want to live my life. And I want to write as well. So I want it to add to my life. It's like a little sprinkle rather than be my life. And I'm really worried it will overtake it. But I'm trying really hard by setting a writing routine so that I can get used to when I write and when I don't. Unless it's tonight and it's the middle of the night. And I just decided that I would film this now because there's no time like the present. Leave your comments below about what scares you about writing and what you find hard and scary and terrifying and all those things. And we can hopefully help each other out and give each other advice where we have, or we can just see that we're not alone with our fears. If you want to see more of me, you can jump onto my website, livyskeltonprice.com. You can sign up to my mailing list. You can check me out on social media. You can find everything on my website. All right. Lift up those pens and put those fingers back on the keyboard. I will talk to you next time.